Hi, I'm back. It's kind of backlit in my usual direction, and I don't think that screen is working because I wanted to bring it down so it's not causing a shadow. This is the only angle right now that works because of where the sun is. So today we're going to make the Bahama Pina Colada cake. So I first found this recipe. They actually mailed it to me in a brochure like 10 years ago, and I made it, and it was fantastic. And then we moved, and I lost the recipe. So I've looked and I've looked and I've never been able to find it until recently I came across their recipe. And so I made it last week. It was fabulous. Everybody loved it, except anybody who didn't like coconut. I thought I'd video it for future purposes. In case I lose the website again, I still have the video of the recipe and how it was made. So that's what we're doing today. The original recipe that I found called for box cake mix, which I was a little disappointed in. The recipe I found actually has a legitimate cake recipe, but since I made the original with the cake mix of the box, that's what I did last week, and that's what I'm gonna do again today. At some point, maybe I'll video the actual cake itself. I'll try it out first to make sure it's good, and then if it's good, then we'll video it so that we can incorporate that if we want to. So these are 9-inch round pans. My oven is preheating to 350. And I love this stuff, this Baking Joy, because it like oils and flours your pans all in one. So you don't have to, do any funny maneuvers and gymnastics with your oil and flour. So right now I'm just, or butter, whatever, oil, whatever. So right now I'm just preparing the pans. Those are ready. Now, the cake, like I said, just making the box cake mix because that's what I did originally. I just picked the yellow. This is golden butter from Duncan Hines. As long as it's a light colored cake, yellow or white, I don't think it matters. Okay, I just put this away and I need it still. 3 eggs. Okay, so it calls for 3 eggs. And one thing I'm doing here, it's butter cake mix, but I'm not gonna use butter, I'm gonna use oil because the oil always makes to me, it always makes a much moister cake. So 3 eggs. Let's just be fair. Okay, 3 eggs. I'll clean those up in a minute. Now it calls for 7 tablespoons of melted butter, and I was going to use oil. 7 tablespoons. I'll just get my tablespoon out and do it this way. I think 4 tablespoons is a 1/4 cup. So we're probably doing almost a 1/2 cup. So I'll just do almost a 1/2 cup here. And just a little dash extra. Where's my lid? Oh, I'll find my lid. And then it calls for 3/4 cup of water. And I just got this idea from Sandra Lee's. Instead of pure water, I'm going to substitute a little bit of my flavored alcohol. So I'm just going to put 1/4 of the 3/4, 1/4 of that cup will be this coconut rum. That was not part of the recipe. I just did that. And then a 1/2 cup of water. And what I would like to do with these is just hand whisk myself until it's well combined. Okay, so that's been well mixed here. And I'm just going to try to pour it evenly into both pans. Oh yummy, that looks so good. It's fairly even. Sometimes I'll do that just to get some of the bubbles out. I don't know if it matters with this type of cake. So then into the oven it goes, 350, and since these are 9-inch pans, it says 22 to 27 minutes. Okay, these are ready. You can see my marks from my little tests, but basically how do you know it's ready? So 1, it's pulled away from the side. 2, you actually can go like this. Oops, I cracked it again. And it bounces back a little. Do you see that? I'm cracking it. But the other thing you do is stick this in, and if it comes out clean, which it did, see, try this one. Clean, feels clean. But really, a lot of times you just go like this and you just barely touch it and it should bounce right back. And it does that pretty well. Except when I go like that and I like mash my fingers in. But if you do this and it doesn't bounce back lightly, can you see where it's bouncing back? I'm not sure. It is, but that's ready. So the next thing to do is let this rest for 15 minutes on wire racks. Where's my racks? Okay. Don't want to burn my fingers, so do 1 rack here and 1 rack here. And then in 15 minutes, we can take those out of the pan. Okay, here we go. We are close to 15 minutes. And how do we take this out? So what do, and you saw that it came away from the edge. That already helps you. What I usually do is take a knife or a little spatula like this. Just go around the edge. Make sure it's loose. You could sort of squish in a little bit just to make sure all these little edges are loosened. Doesn't hurt to do that as long as you don't break up your cake. So you gotta do it gently. Okay, now rack this way and then flip it over, as hard as you can. And then what I do, I don't know if that helps, but it's for good measure. Ugh. Beautiful. Look. Okay, we'll do the other cake and then let them cool completely. So the next step is to take this sweetened coconut, in this bag, I'm sure there are other types you can use, and just spread it out. The recipe calls for 7 ounces, but I actually find that if you use more, you really give it a good coating. And then you have some leftover to put on top of yogurt or strawberries, whatever you want. But at any rate, I'm just smoothing all of this out, so hopefully it'll warm up evenly. And I'm gonna put this in the 350-degree oven for about 12 to 15 minutes, and then I go in there periodically and I just stir so that none of it gets burned. Okay, while my coconut is toasting, the next step is, and my cake is cooling, the next step is to take 2 20-ounce cans of crushed pineapple and strain those. Ooh, that was pretty generous. Okay. Basically, what you want to do is separate the pineapple from the juice. Because what you're going to use is the pineapple. And what I'm going to do once that's strained is put it into this bowl. So I'm waiting. Did you see that there? Just to help that along, I'm just taking a little spoon and just pressing some of that fluid out. I don't know exactly how dry you're supposed to get it, but that's most of the liquid. So I'll put this in the bowl and work on my other can. Let's do half the can at a time instead of last one. Lump the whole thing in. You could probably use that juice or something else if you wanted. Okay, so here. And then we just have a little bit more. Okay. My pineapple's ready now. Oh, do you hear my boys and girls fighting back there? It's play fighting. So let me show you. So the recipe called for 7 ounces, and me, you know, why not more? I put in 14 because I didn't want to have enough. I want to have enough to really layer the outside of the cake. And this is like beautifully browned, like some are lighter than others, but it all comes out beautiful. And it probably took about 20 minutes for this to cook. But I went in there every few minutes and I just stirred it up so that nothing would get over browned and burned. So I'm just going to put this aside while we get ready for the next step. Now the next step is, we'll come over here. This is a cup of cream. I'm just going to warm that up. And what I want is for this to get to a simmer. Here I have white chocolate chips. And the recipe called for 10 ounces, but this is an 11-ounce bag, and you know, my motto is if I like it, a little more is better. It doesn't hurt. So I put in 11 ounces in here. When this comes to a simmer, we're going to put it into here, into the white chocolate chips, and just stir it and let it melt the chocolate chips on their own. So we'll be right back. Okay, it's been, I think, about 3 minutes. I'm supposed to use the whisk, not this. So let's take the whisk and just stir. Oh, this is nice and soft. Should be melted, and you just want to stir this until it's smooth. Then it's supposed to really cool to room temperature before you use it any further. But I'm just trying to create an emulsion, an even solution of mixture with no chunks. It'd be nice if my whisk was a little stronger. It's like a plastic whisk and it's bending a lot. But it's coming. That's actually beautiful. I've found white chocolate pretty finicky to work with. It's pretty well mixed. We'll be back. Okay, now to finish the frosting, I had this bowl in the freezer just to chill. And I'm going to take 2 more cups of cream. There's one. I think I'm gonna need to open the other container. Let's see here. Where does that come? Okay. This is the second cup. Now to this, we are going to add 1/4 cup of confectioner's sugar and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now it calls for vanilla extract, but you know I like vanilla paste. There we go. So good. This is like, I love this so much. And I'm pretty picky about my vanilla. So, let's see, can I get the rest of that out of there? So as not to waste. Let's see here. Right, now, let's start beating this. Oh, that's nice. These things always come. I know. Dry them off, and we'll try it again. I'm just gonna put electrocuted. Let's try it again. Okay, ready? We're gonna beat these until they form soft peaks, and I'll show you what the soft peaks look like. See it getting frothy, bubbly? Those whisks are incorporating air into our cream. That's what's making it frothy and bubbly, and eventually we'll whip it. That reminds me of Pina. Whip it. Okay, here we go. Nice and blended. That's what you want. Now, the next thing to do is to take this white chocolate and I think you just stir it in, but you stir it in with your whisk, not with your electric beater. And this forms the white chocolate mousse that becomes the frosting for the cake. So I'm just going to slowly and gently mix this together because I don't want to lose all my little air bubbles and my frothiness in my cream. But we're going to emulsify it and make it a nice, even mixture. That's, I think, almost ready. Well, there's still little pockets. Let me check. So do I have anything down there? Let's give it a little stir.
There's some on the bottom.
Yeah. This is when you fold in something, you kind of go from the bottom like this. That's what I'm trying to do with my whisk. Trying not to lose my bubbles.
That's kind of how I mix my mortar.
Yeah. It's a technique that's useful for many things, including mortar. There's more coming out. This is starting to look more consistent. There, that's beautiful. I think once I get this done, we're actually ready to start putting the cake together. Okay. Now let me get the pieces together and I'll show you. Okay, we are almost ready to put this together. I have the pineapple, I have my rum topping, which is like a little tiny glaze on top. I have my white chocolate mousse, which is the actual frosting, and I have my toasted coconut. So, really the next thing you have to do is cut each of these layers in half. And the way you do that is usually to take a serrated knife, kind of look. And what I usually do is go around the edges first so that I can sort of visually approximate where half is. Usually, once you go around and you've kept it in the middle, it's easy to separate the whole thing because the knife is pretty long. So there, I've got one. Now let me do the other. This is a little uneven, but oh well, it's a homemade cake. Okay, so approximating the half. And just taking this, actually it's easier to just swivel the wrap with the cake on it than it is to move my knife. I just keep the knife relatively stable. And there we go. That's cut in half too. Just gonna get rid of my crumbs. Okay. First step is to take 1/2. I wonder if I need something fat on the spatula. I just don't want to break it. I do. And that would be slick, wouldn't it? Okay. There. Ooh, it's splattering crumbs. Okay. Now, first step is to take the rum. The recipe, there you go. So the recipe called for dark rum. I found gold rum, and then I had my coconut rum, which I love. So I actually just did half and half, but just do a little light drizzle of the rum, just a very light little drizzle, just sort of to coat the top. You have enough for all of your layers here. It actually calls for about a tablespoon per layer. I think that looks pretty good. If you want it a little extra moist, you could take a little bit of that juice from the coconut, from the pineapple, and just splatter that on there too. Just a tiny bit. Okay. Now, next step. Some of the white chocolate. The recipe calls for about 3/4 of a cup on each layer. I'm estimating because I just want to spread it around evenly. like that. Isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh, it's looking good already. That's probably 3/4. Now, let me get a spoon. About 1/2 cup of this pineapple. Ooh, I gotta put this in the middle, don't I? On top. And last time I had to spread this with my fingers because I had taken all the juice out and it's all clumped up. Just spread it around. You could use a fork to spread this out. I'm getting advice from the engineer. You could use a fork, or you could use your fingers if they're clean. And my hands are always clean when I cook because my mom told me so. Okay, now the next layer. See, isn't that cute? Same thing, first your rum. Just a little touch all over. This actually just soaks right in. It gives the cake layer some flavor and a little moisture. I want to make sure I have enough for all of it. And just to supplement, I'm gonna just do a few little dabs of this pineapple juice. Why not? Okay. Now, again, about 3/4 of a cup of white chocolate mousse on top. Really just enough to spread evenly all around. This side's a little droopy, so what I might need to do is add a little more cream on this side to beef it up. And then about 1/2 cup of the pineapple. See, there we go. Mr. Engineer says I can use a fork to spread it around. I probably could. I'm sure I could. But my hands are my best tools. How many people agree with me? Okay. Now, the next layer. And I'm just going to take one more. There we go. Where's the fatter piece? Not sure. There's no fatter piece on that one. Okay. Again, we will start, where's my little brush? With our rum. So you have about 4 tablespoons or about 1/4 cup to begin with. Thinking you're gonna do about 1 tablespoon per layer. And you're not really putting a lot, so it's just not gonna be strong or potent or get anyone drunk. God forbid. Unless that was your goal. Just as, the recipe doesn't call for this, but again, this was the juice that the pineapple came in, so I thought I'd make it a little extra moist. Another 3/4 of a cup. Maybe like that. Spread to the edges. Then another 1/2 cup of pineapple. It's another 1/2 cup. That. Oh, here went that. Okay, we'll throw some more. Put some more. There we go. I'll pick that up on the side of the plate. Again, the idea is just to spread this around. Okay. Now, the last layer. So this gets the last bit of rum. Should, if I've been fair about all the pieces, should be about 1 tablespoon. One time I made a rum cake for work. I think I was 18 at the time, and it called for a cup of rum. So I put a cup of rum in the cake, and I think I shocked everybody. Probably almost made them all drunk. It was crazy. realize when you put alcohol on a cake, you usually just want to accent it, not actually kill anybody. Okay, so the next thing you're just going to do is with this frosting is just finish coating it. I threw some on top first. Maybe I should have put it on the side. I had a little bit fall. I'll put this here. And the way I usually coat the side is I put some on the end of this spatula and just spread and turn, and then you can build up your layers. This first layer is really just to get it coated. Yeah. Can you see that? Here, just getting the layers coated, and then you can go back with another layer. This first coating actually helps trap in all of those crumbs or filling that's drizzling out. Okay. And we'll go around some more. Mm-hmm. Does it have to look perfect? No. Has any one of my cakes ever looked perfect? No. Doesn't mean it's not gonna look good. I think my mom took a cake decorating class when I was a little girl, about 10 or 11. And some of the techniques I remember. Some I never mastered because she would come home and practice, and so we would practice with her. It was fun. You probably don't have to be perfect with this frosting either because of the coconut. Remember, we toasted our coconut? I'm just trying to use everything that I made. Make it as even as possible, as well covered as possible. Oh, there we go. So, okay, there's a mangle. Let's see if we can fix that. You're still coming. Just about. I'm going until I finish my frosting. So it looks pretty well covered, but this frosting is not terribly sweet, so you won't get a sugar headache from this. So it's really good. Okay, now I'm bored. I'm just gonna slap the rest of it on here. Good swirl. Trying to make it even. Usually you swirl the pan or the plate as you're doing this. That helps. I don't have a nice fancy cake platter. I should. Okay, so we've done all of those pieces. Now the last piece is to take the coconut and add it. How I do that. So this is easy, right? You just sprinkle that on the top. But what I usually do is just take a handful. Oop. splat it on the side. Let's see if we can back this up a little bit. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit on the bottom. I said I want this whole thing to be covered with coconut. If you wanted to, and you wanted to be nice and fancy and sweet and perfect, you could put little pieces of wax paper on the bottom of those cake layers and just pull them off your spread. And I have enough of this, I can afford to do this. That's one reason why I like making a little extra. Okay. Almost all the way around. What I can do is try to scoop up whatever's on the bottom. Let me help make sure it sticks to the bottom of this cake. I think I need a little bit more here. And then the final just drizzle all over the top. Trying to make sure it's all nice and covered. Let's see, a little bit more here. Okay. Now, let me clean up and we'll be right back. Okay, so here it is. We've gone through all the different steps. What I'm going to do is cover it and put it in the refrigerator so everything will firm up and chill up. And then when it's time to have a piece, we'll come back. Okay, I said I was going to wait for people to taste this with me. Oh, there's Ashley. She'll taste it with me. But otherwise, I was going to say, I can't wait. I've got to do it myself.
Yeah,
ready for the taste test?
I would love a taste.
Can you get 2 forks,
Of
please?
course.
Little baby's dessert forks. Okay, let's start. And I've got to try to do a little shot of the inside of the cake. I'm not real good on food styling either. Or technology. I'm generally good at cooking though.
Yes, that for sure.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. Ready? Let's see. Ready? Ooh, isn't that
That's
pretty?
beautiful.
Oh, okay. Let's turn it
my
this way and
goodness.
let's do a shot. Can I get down?
Yum.
There. Isn't that beautiful? Okay.
Stunning.
Now, hang on. Okay, there we go. Oh, what part do you want to start with?
This one.
I love frosting. I'll start with this. Okay.
Okay.
Here's authentic taste test.
Ready?
Ready.
Oh my god.
This is delicious. Is this better than the last one?
The frosting is just so good.
It's not too sweet.
The
It's
pineapple
really
chunks.
creamy, but it's not too sweet.
No, the pineapple chunks are perfectly sweet with the frosting, you know?
Good point.
Really good.
Mm.
Oh, let me get coconut too.
So much for dessert, huh?
I
I mean,
know.
so much for
I
dinner.
know.
Okay,
What a
ready?
big ass piece.
Okay, that's a thumbs up.